What is going on YouTube? Here I'm back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar. We're also going to be looking at DueDEX as well as the current coin market cap. Specifically in today's episode, again, I want to discuss the long consolidation and uncertainty that the market is displaying right now and where this is most likely going to lead to in the future. As you can see, specifically on pretty much all of the big blue chip cryptocurrencies in the space, we're starting to see a very long-term sideways moving market, which isn't showing much spikes in volume or anything like that. We're becoming very flatline and trading very slow. You can see even on Bitcoin too, the market is trading sideways. On Ethereum, the coins are flatlined out, moving sideways. You can even see on XRP, the market is flattened out and trading sideways. So all these cryptocurrencies are now stopped dead in their tracks. There's no more price movement, there's no more volume, and we're literally flatlining out on every single indicator as well. The relative strength indicator trading sideways. The MACD is starting to see bearish crosses. So there's a bunch of crazy news and crazy things happening in crypto, so definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. This helps out the YouTube algorithm, and remember to follow me on Twitter at CryptoVOfficial. This way, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can literally just DM me over there and I will answer them. Otherwise, let's jump into today's episode. Alright guys, so I am on my current YouTube channel, and as you guys can see, yesterday I made a video basically discussing that XRP, Ripple, and Bitcoin June price prediction. Must watch. What are you going to see? What are you going to expect? As we know, today is June 9th, and there is quite a bit more that we do have in June, but ultimately what we're starting to see as we continue on in this market is a lot of flatlined movement, uncertainty, stagnant trading, stagnant volume. You can see on the top 10 cryptocurrency, wait, hold on, that's crazy. Hopefully you guys see this, but Tether is now trading at number 3 and just bumped out XRP. Some of the other cryptocurrencies look like their tickers or their tokens look like they've been moved around a little bit, but ultimately, wow, that's pretty wild to see that XRP is now number 4 and Tether has now moved up even higher than that. It also makes me think like, wow, Tether as a stable token is very interesting too. Even though there's nothing backing it, the fact that there is finally a stable coin is very interesting to see. So that's It's very interesting, but for the rest of the market, it's merely just sideways movement. No big bursts of volume, no big, dips in volume. It's merely just consolidation, stagnant movement on the price graph, and sideways trading. And this ultimately does come with its big movements. Ultimately, the sideways trading is basically building up pressure, and as the steam builds in the pot, eventually it's going to pop, and we're going to see that volume move into some very nice places. So ultimately, to start, we could go start on Bitcoin. You can see that there are some very interesting movements happening right now. You can see that we are trading sideways. Now, Bitcoin is probably the only one that's showing some very odd signs, but regardless, you can see that the MACD is trading at about, the RSI is trading at about 53 on Bitcoin, and you can see we're having a very slow sideways trading movement within the MACD. Ultimately, markets are flatlining out, and that's what you guys have to be aware of. When these markets stay uncertain, and when the markets just move sideways and they don't really see much volume at all, it's an indicator of a big rally coming. Now, just because we're seeing the sideways trading doesn't mean it's going to be a big bullish breakout to the upside. It could easily just as be one to the downside, and that's ultimately what I'm anticipating for multiple reasons. A, MACD is flatlined out. RSI is flatlined on 50. You can see we're fairly high up. You can see in relevance to all of the cryptos, and I've talked about this day in, day out on the channel, that we're mostly at a peak at a high point within the currency, and that there's a very high chance it's going to reverse and fall to the downside and then swing back down to most likely E point right there. So we have the 0 to A, B, C, D, E formation, the Elliott wave happening right there, and ultimately there's a good chance it is going to hit the top stop, and then correct to the downside and fall to E. So expect to see now that we have finally started to see a reversal. Last week's candle was a massive test to see whether or not it was going to stay positive or float to the downside, and as we can clearly see, it whipped all the way down back to closing below its downtrend, and ultimately starting now another candle, this week's candle, in red as it becomes more bearish. We're most likely going to see this dip all the way back down. We have 5 days and 13 hours left, and there's a good chance it's going to head lower and lower and lower, ultimately falling us all the way down to not only the middle moving average, I think on Bitcoin's weekly, closer to 76, but maybe even all the way down to $6,000 on Bitcoin. So definitely make sure to be able to short these cryptocurrencies. It's very easy to do too. As you know, we use a program called DueDEX. DueDEX is a free trading platform, super easy to use. I've been using it for months now. It is very, economical. It is very easy. It is very beginner friendly. I do have a link in the description down below where I have posted how to get to the website. It is so easy. I think they're doing even up to a $70 sign-up bonus. Apologize for my allergies, but it is extremely useful to use, and the fact that we are all teeter-tottering on all these currencies, showing signs of weakness, that there's a good chance we're going to drop to the downside, we could very easily short this market. And I said in yesterday's video, there's a good chance I'm going to be doing this very soon, and I'll be updating everybody on my Patreon with my specific trades. And if you guys are interested in learning my specific trades, go check out my Patreon because it is going fast. Now, specifically, I wanted to talk about the other cryptos. So when you look at just Bitcoin, and because Bitcoin is the one that I like to trade, predominantly, Bitcoin is the easiest one that I just happen to use on DueDEX. It's very easy to short. I like to focus on this one coin. And then I use other cryptocurrencies as a means of figuring out which direction the market wants to sway to. So when I looked at Bitcoin, as I said, it's a little bit difficult to read. So then I fall onto other cryptos and I look at other cryptocurrencies and see how they're moving and if they give an easier pattern to read than, let's say, Bitcoin. So when I looked at Litecoin, I noticed we're flat laid out in the middle moving average. We're literally retesting the top here, retesting the middle moving average. We know that the longer we stay up here and retest resistance, the bigger the chance of us correcting to the downside. And then when we look at the RSI, trading at 50. We're trading literally at 51. When we look at the MACD, we're starting to see what could be a bearish cross and a reversal in the bullish movements. And that goes without saying, the longer we stay up here and the longer we battle the middle moving average, the higher the chances are that we're going to pop. Whether we break bullish, whether we break bearish, it depends on how everything else plays out. I'm probably more 70% bearish and 30% bullish. It seems like from the poll that I did on Twitter with you guys that it's more 60-40. You guys are 60% bearish and 40% bullish. But ultimately, the bears do have a pretty big grip on the way these markets are holding right now. And after, as we know, about 3 months of bullish movement, 3 months of bullish trading, there's a good chance we're going to start to see that bearish move into the downside now. So you guys do have to be fairly aware of the opportunity that does lie in the market taking a reversal to the downside. Now that we looked at Ethereum, now that we looked at Litecoin, we used Litecoin to help gauge what exactly is going to happen with Bitcoin. We knew that Litecoin is fairly bearish, hitting a middle moving average, having resistance, good chance it's going to stumble lower. We have to then reevaluate ourselves and look at, let's say, Ethereum. Ethereum is another cryptocurrency. So when we look at Ethereum, we can see that, yes, we have a resistance right here. We're trading sideways. This is not good. When we trade sideways, it's a big sign that A, we're hitting a resistance at the top. A, the price is very uncertain. And B, or this is now C, there's a good chance we're going to see the uncertainty end in a very aggressive pop in price. Whether that's bullish or bearish, we'll have to figure out. But ultimately, you can see we're trading up here at the top. The prices are most likely going to, correct to the downside. Middle moving average looks to see, the MACD is looking to see bearish cross. And there's a good chance this price is going to follow the rest of the market and swing and correct back to the downside. Now, lastly, of the 4 blue chip cryptocurrencies we use, XRP would be the last one that I'd reference. And as you guys can see, same patterns are happening. Dang, I really got to get allergy meds. But 50 on the RSI, trading flatlined out sideways. MACD is starting to see a bearish cross. Starting to. We're getting closer. It hasn't happened yet, but it is starting to get very close. It's getting very, 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 very close to its other reversal signal, and there's a good chance it's going to swing to the downside. As we know, you can see up here, the longer we hang out on this MACD, the higher the chances of a reversal. It usually doesn't just break bullish through here. It's very aggressive in its terms of breaking through its MACD, and you can see it takes a while for it to, it doesn't take a while for it to just break through here. But now when you look at it back to yesterday, in the past couple of days, it's trading sideways. It's flatlined out, and there's a good chance that this is ultimately going to lead to a bearish break with all these sideways tradings, and we're going to correct to the downside. Obviously, I'm putting a huge wager on the fact that this is a bearish movement, a bearish signal. It could just as easily break bullish, but regardless of the direction it breaks, we can capitalize off this. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter, CryptoviaOfficial, and I'll see you in tomorrow's episode. Peace.